Mercantilism. Mercantilism is the economic theory according to which the prosperity of a nation depends upon its supply of capital and the global volume of trade is unchangeable. The amount of capital represented by gold held by the state is best increased through a positive balance of trade with other nations through large exports and low imports. It suggests that the ruling country, mother country, should advance these goals while playing a protectionist role in the economy by encouraging exports and discouraging imports through the use of tariffs. The foundation of British rule in India. The Portuguese, the Dutch, the English, and the French came to India as traders to make huge profits out of trade. Naturally, it led to a sense of competition, and as a result, they became rivals. The English were successful in driving out Portuguese and Dutch from most of the parts of India, but French were still in India up to the end of the 18th century. Both French and English were eager to establish their supremacy in India. In a bid for supremacy, wars often used to break out between these two countries. Their differences were finally resolved through the three Carnatic Wars or Anglo-French Wars fought from 1744 to 1763. They are called Carnatic Wars because most of the battles were fought in the Carnatic and other parts of the present-day Tamil Nadu. The French and the British were traditional rivals in Europe. Their interests also clashed in America. Wars between them in Europe spread to India, where both the companies wanted monopoly of trade. This meant that they had to settle their differences through wars or talks. They were too hostile to each other to negotiate settlements. Since India did not have strong central power at that time, they used the unstable conditions in Carnatic and Hyderabad to settle their differences. First Carnatic War. The First Carnatic War was fought from 1744 to 1748. The first struggle between the English and the French in India was an echo of the War of Austrian Succession which broke out in Europe in 1740. The threat to capture Pondicherry, a French settlement, by the English fleet led the French governor Dupleix to capture Madras, now Chennai, which was ultimately restored to the English by the treaty that ended the War of Succession. Trivia. The three villages that were developed into a city in Bengal and where Fort William was built were Gobindapur, Kalikata and Sutanuti. Trivia. 4 Carnatic Wars were fought between British and French on Indian soil. Second Carnatic War. This war was fought over the issue of succession in the Carnatic and Hyderabad. The French wanted to install Chanda Sahib as the Nawab of Carnatic, while English East India Company supported Muhammad Ali. Similarly, in Hyderabad, they supported the claims of two rival candidates. French supported Muzaffar Jung Nizam, while British favoured Nazir Jung. Each hoped that the Nawabs they installed would grant greater economic concessions. In this war, French were defeated. Muhammad Ali was made the Nawab of Carnatic. This war ended between 1748 to 1754. Later on, a peace treaty was signed between the two rival forces and Dupleix was called to France. That was perhaps the turning point in French's role in Indian history. Third Carnatic War. The Third Carnatic War was an extension of 7 years of war in Europe. The peace treaty proved to be temporary. Another war broke out in 1756. The British had gained control of the rich province of Bengal after the Battle of Plassey. The French were handicapped by the shortage of funds. They were defeated in the Battle of Vandy Wash in 1760. Within a year, they lost all their possessions in Carnatic. After a Treaty of Paris in 1763 between France and England, the French company was given back its factories, but they were not allowed to keep troops. The French continued to trade under the protection of the British. The English also realized the weaknesses of Indian rulers and their armies. They were nobody to use these to their advantage in the coming years.